Congressman John Boehner just stunned America by quitting Congress. Well, perhaps stunned is a bit strong. How about surprised? No, that would imply that America had some sort of expectations or knew the name of John Boehner or even what he does for a living. Okay, so a handful of political geeks on Twitter cocked a figurative eyebrow upon the news that John Boehner is not only resigning his post as House Speaker, but entirely abandoning the institution, unless, of course, he comes back as a lobbyist, which if I were a betting man, I would. And all of this means that the House of Representatives needs to select a new speaker. But there's an interesting quirk in the U.S. Constitution in that anybody can become Speaker of the House. That's right, even you could become House Speaker with all of the emoluments and emollients appertaining thereto. I'll read it to you right from the U.S. Constitution itself, Article 1, Section 2. Try not to doze off during this lengthy discourse from the Constitution. The House of Representatives shall choose their Speaker. That's it. That's the whole thing. It doesn't even say the House Speaker needs to be a member of Congress, or an adult, or even a human. Speak, House Speaker, speak. So, if you could be House Speaker, you know what that means? It means that I, Scott Ott, could be Speaker of the House. I want to assure you that, like my predecessor John Boehner, first and foremost, my job is to protect the institution.
My first job as Speaker is to protect the institution.
So that means if someone tries to attack the institution, I will ward them off by waving my arms and making threatening noises. And if that doesn't work, I'll go nuclear by introducing a resolution to rebuke them for trying to attack the institution. And if that doesn't work, I'll cry. Don't push me. So what is it about the institution that puts it above not only the Republican Party, but the very people who elected John Boehner to Congress? The House of Representatives is a hallowed institution because each member is democratically elected of the people, by the people, and for the people. And then all of those democratically elected representatives of the people come together as one in Washington, D.C. to choose a Speaker of the House who has near dictatorial powers to hand out favors, limit speech, kill legislation, meet secretly with members of the other party, play golf privately with the president, and punish anyone who objects to his autocratic rule, even to cry in public. A lot. Now you see why, above all else, we must protect the institution.
My first job as Speaker is to protect the institution.
Of course, the main threat to the institution comes from representatives who were elected by the people to come and reform the institution. And everyone knows that reform is simply the Latin word for attack. They must be stopped. As your new Speaker of the House, I'll actually install a bench in the back of the chamber where those so-called conservative reformers will sit. And I'll provide front row seats to those bipartisan Republicans who are most committed to protecting the institution and to any Democrats who believe that Republicans need to be more bipartisan. As House Speaker, I'm also the leader of House Republicans, leading the charge to pass the Republican agenda in Congress. But like my predecessor, John Boehner, I understand that we're only about 1/2 of 1/3 of the federal government, and just do the math there, like 1/2 times 1/3 equals 0.5 over 1.5, and you cross out the 0.5s, and that leaves you with 1%. So as 1%ers, we need to understand that we can't get anything done unless the Democratic president says it's okay. That's why the framers of the Constitution set up this separation of powers to serve as a series of checks and balances. That means that on balance, as long as we're separated from White House power, if we want anything, we have to check with the president. But why bother? He's just going to say no. And keep in mind that the House Speaker is second in line after the Vice President in the line of succession should the President of the United States become unable to serve. And because Vice President Joe Biden isn't even sure if he wants to be President of the United States, if the President should suffer a career-ending golf injury, say pull a hammy or something, then I would be next in line to be President of these United States. And of course, as your President, I'll be taking an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. Wait, did I say Constitution? Oh, no, I meant institution. So call your congressman today. Tell him that you want Scott Ott institutionalized as your next Speaker of the House.